Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all fine and good today. Today is the second day of the workshop, and we are very happy to have you over here. Today, we'll be building our project number 4 and project number 5. So, there are two major projects of this workshop. Actually, the previous three projects are actually developing you to do all this rest of the two projects. That's how actually we have designed the projects. In these two projects, what we are actually mainly concentrating on is the having a bit of moment. I'll just check the details over here. Okay. So in this two workshops, in these two projects, what we are going to do is we are going to build a thesis template. So anybody wants to do of their own thesis in their MSc projects or MPhil projects or even BTech projects, of course, in PhD thesis. How do we go about it? And of course, actually, now how do we use others' thesis? So most of the time, actually, now we'll tend to use the others' thesis template and then type our own thesis. How do we go about it, and how do we keep our code very simple? Because typing LaTeX or typing in LaTeX is first idea is actually keep it very simple and also use the as much as list packages as we need it as we go along, and then we can use the number of packages, but really not a good idea to use as many packages as we want. Just actually has to be as minimal as we want. Anyway, so let's go ahead and see. Look at the project number 4 for that discussion. So here we have our project number 4. This is what we're gonna do. Maybe anyway, actually, no. Let me check the chat box before that. Over its here. Yeah, let me pull up this chat box. Yes, so all of them are here. If you are actually coming right now, so please post a message so that I will come to know that you are already present here. And obviously, actually, attendance is actually mandatory for giving you the certificate. Okay, thanks a lot. Let me see. Let me go over the project 4. We'll straight away jump into the project. So what we're going to do in this project is we are going to create a book article or book template. So this is how it is. So there is a title. It's a very simple title which we have from the previous projects, and there is a table of content for this. It's a table of content, and of course, if I go down with this, of course, there's an empty page, and the chapter 1. And if I go further, then I have mathematics. So this project is actually purely focusing on how to type mathematics, and this equation has no number and this equation has a number, the numbered equation. And the next chapter, second chapter, this deals with some of the mathematics. How do you type this? Some typical mathematics, and how do you type matrices, and how do you type such kind of big matrices, and how do you type this expression, and also how do you type a different kind of braces, how do you type different big brackets which is adjusting your height of the mathematics. That also important. And also we will try to align the equations with respect to the equal to. So you can remember, you can see that these equations have been aligned properly. So that's what we are going to learn today, and we're going to learn two different ways that how do we do it. We can check the difference in the project anyway. So there are one way I have written here, the same thing I have done over here as well, but you can design it freshly. And after that, actually, we have a simple bibliography. So this is the first time that actually we're going to use our own bibliography, and we're going to write one bibliography in this project, and of course in the project number 5 then we will include little more, depends on the time permits. Okay, so that's what we're going to build for project number 4. Anyway, project number 5 I will explain it once we go through it. Until then, actually, no, we'll go ahead and start the new project. So what we are going to do is I'm going to go over the Text Studio and set up the Text Studio for this project. So the class which we're gonna use for this project is going to be book. That's what we're gonna use. So the book and the report has a two different. It's actually has a slightly different difference in nature. Book has parts and the report not does not have part. I'm quite familiar with it. So books we can actually give the part by part, and reports we cannot give the part by part. It's always have a chapters, only the chapters. So I will tell you the structure how it goes, but before that, actually now let's go ahead and prepare the project for it. So what we'll do actually now, will let me pull up my timer. So I would say that it is so I will give them 3 minutes to set up the project. So what you can do, you can just open the Text Studio and go ahead and give a shot. Open a new project. Set up the document. You just have to use the document class. You just have to write the document class. In the document class, so far we were using letter and article. Today we will use book. So instead of that article, you write book and then begin your document. Type your title, keep your author name, and keep also your make title. So these are the three things actually you have to do. So for that, actually I'll give you 3 minutes to do that. Maybe I will keep the, of course you have the project number 4 which we have sent it on your mail, so you can use that as well. Please go ahead and prepare the project. So I hope you have done it. I have finished the project setup. Anyway, I will go over it and then create a new project over here as well. So let's see what we have to do. We have to just click on this uh, file and then new. We change to my desktop. So let's go to the file and then new, and over here we're gonna do slash document class, and in that we're gonna type book. We're going to type book, and then we're going to type slash begin document, and goes in the wind slash end document. Then you must have type hello world, and then try to save and check whether it works or not. So file and then save. Let me go to the desktop and then LaTeX workshop, and there were already project number 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to create a new folder called project number 4, then go inside the project number 4 and then save my document as project 4, and after that I will build and view. That works fine, right? So now after that what we have to do, we have to just type the title. So this one is and what is the project title I have given? Yes, I don't by just copy that, paste it here. I just copied and pasted, and then author, you can write your own name. So let me write it as David Raj Michael, and finally I would type make title for that to be visible in the document. That's all we did. Yeah. Okay. So until then, this is fine, I guess. So I hope everybody has got until this. If you could do it on your own, then feel very proud of it. That Asplina, you have actually learned later. This is the most important part. If you know how to start it, then definitely you will know how to go ahead with this. There is no issue in going ahead with the LaTeX. Just if you don't know, if you know how to start. So you know the basic document to be created. So here and now onwards, actually, what we have to do, we have to make it very minimal, and we have to make it so smooth so that we will have only minimal code in our source file, and then we will not bombard with a lot of codes in our code. So the next thing what we wanted is we want to look into the structure of a book article or book class. So actually what is the book class is I would write here. So the book article has this structure. The first, which has a part. It has a part 1, part 2, something. And then the inside the part, it has chapter. And inside the chapter, it has section, and inside the section it has subsection, and inside the subsection it has subsection. So of course you can go ahead and create as many subsections you want. There is no problem in it, and there is some limit in it actually now, but right now I don't remember how many you can go, but definitely you can go as much as you need it by redefining the subsection commands. So the book has first part, then chapter, then section, then subsection, then subsection, etc. What do I mean by that? If I suppose write here, let me comment this for your future reference. So how do I comment it is, what you can do, you can just select all of them and then go to I guess it is in the IDE fix. Just in the IDE fix, there is something called comment, and then there is something called uncomment. There is something called toggle comment. So there is a shortcut for that as well. Toggle comment means actually you can just click on one more time, and then if it is commented, then it will uncomment it. It will uncomment. If it is uncommented, it will comment it. So let me click on comment right now. So what it will do, it will just actually add the percentage symbols in the top, in the front, so that this code will not be running right now for the output. Which means if I just run right now, then does not have any effect. So whatever is there is only there, only one page, and that has only the title, which is what there earlier. So this is my comment. So this is for myself. This is a good practice to write it. So now let's comment that document right now. So let me go ahead, IDE fix, and then toggle comment or comment, and that will do. So this is title section, right? Let's try to write a neat document, and then over here I'll put one more comment, and then I will end the title section like this. So this is my commenting, so that I will know what I have typed in my code. For my future reference, if I come back after some 1 year and then taken the document, then I will understand what I have done in this. That's all. So this is the description. So this is also commented. Let it be like this. And the second one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain what does this comments actually means. Remember, this we have already completed. The same thing it is actually going to work for any book or report. In fact, so what is going to happen? Once you have a section, then you can always have a subsection. That's what we have seen in the article. The similar thing in the book, it is not directly starting with a section, but it's starting with a part. Doesn't matter whether you give a part or not, but you can always start with the part, and then you can put some chapters inside a part and put some sections inside a particular chapter, and so on. So let me have one model here. So what we can do is we can type slash path. So let's say this is the first part, and then I can have another part. So this is the second part. You might have seen in some books, right? So these are part two like that. So this is first part and this is second part. If I compile it, then what will I get? I get two extra pages. Remember, this is part one, right? So the part one, and the other one is part two. So it automatically creates an empty page, because every book, if you go, then you should see that the odd pages should start with a fresh one, and then the even pages should be empty if it is starting a new fresh page. Which means none of the even page should have the fresh page starting in it. Which means if I start at chapter 1, then I don't start with chapter 1 in the uh, left hand side of mine. Right means should not be in the even page. That's what I mean. To explain it further, maybe let me check whether I can open the PDF, and then there is a view. Yeah, two page view. Right. Look at this. It is an odd page, and this is an even page. That's how it is, right? I should also have one two page scrolling. Yeah. Look at this. This is an odd page and this is an even page. Means you can consider this is the front page and this is the back side of it. So the back side, I don't want to start the part one. So it has to start in the fresh page. That's why actually this empty space has been already created. And similarly, once I have written the part title, I don't want to create the another part immediately the back side of that. Whereas I want to start it with the fresh page. So in this way, what you can do, you don't have to add an empty page automatically on. You don't have to add an empty page, but it automatically adds it. Make sure that actually you close this file, otherwise LaTeX will yell at you that actually it's already open and you are trying to access it. Anyway, so I'm going to click on this button to go back to the embedded view, and then open the Text Studio here. So this is part 1 and part 2, right? So I have the part 1 here, and then I have the part 2 here. So that's all I have right now. Let me type some chapters under the part 1. So this is my part 1, and then under that let me type a chapter. So chapter, so this is first chapter in first part, and let me compile it. What happens? Let's see. Once I compile this, then under the part 1, then after that there is an empty space, because empty page, because it does not want to create a new page. It does want to create a new chapter. Just after that, it wanted to create the next odd page. So that is here. So this is the first chapter. Once after this first chapter, then the second part comes, right? So the second part comes over here, right? Similarly, I can also type a chapter over here. Goes. So this is uh, first chapter in the second part, right? Yeah. So after this part, you can type the first chapter in the second part. So remember, actually, that's actually is named as chapter 2. That's because the chapter has a different counter. You can always reset the counter here. Suppose if you want to call this as this also as a chapter 1 under the part 2, that also you can do. You can even redefine it like it has to call it as 2.1 or 2.2. Anything is possible. Everything is possible in LaTeX. You can just actually read everything. And after this chapter, then under the chapter you go with the section. So every chapter has a lot of sections. So this is first section in first chapter inside first part, right? You don't have to type everything. Actually, you can just watch me typing, no problem. So this is here in this first. Let me go ahead with this. This is the first part, and under the first part, I have the first chapter. Inside the first chapter, I have the first section, and I can always go ahead and copy and paste it for the two chapters. Let's say, suppose I want one more section under it. So this is second section, and compile it, and that would give me the second section under that chapter. So that's how it works. I hope you understand that. So after this, actually, you know everything, because under the sections, and I can have a subsection. Under a subsection, I have subsection. Under a subsection, I have subsection. So keep on. You can write it until, I think it is only until 3. And after that, actually, you know, if you want it, you can redefine it in the preamble and then make it more and on. That's all you wanted. And similarly, actually, you know, you can number the subsections as well. So you can always actually go ahead with it. If I am right, then it numbers only until subsection. So this is subsection, and then let's write subsection. Yeah, so that itself is actually not giving. So only two sections are there, right? Only two subsections we can give. So this is just section. This has to be. Let me type one subsection out. This is a subsection, and let me comment this. So that has 1.2 and then 1.2.1, and then subsection does not have numbers. So you can also keep the numbers here. If I zoom it for you, section, subsection, and then subsection. You can also keep the number for this as well. If you redefine the subsection command. Anyway, actually, I will not definitely go over it, because this is not that advanced level of LaTeX. So we need to stick to the introduction part, not so that it will not overburden you. And then the next one is actually, if you wanted a new one, so subsection, you can also do that, but again it needs a new redefining of subsection. So what you wanted to do anyway, actually, and again that's also a little advanced, so I'm not going to. So I have only up to subsection, so that much only I can use it right now by default. So I will go over it. I think that's more than enough, because we do not deep dive into more subsections in any of the thesis or any of the books right now. So this is actually enough. You don't have to know much about this, much more than this. Anyway, so we're gonna delete all of them. I will keep it as a comment for your future reference. So let me comment it. So what did I do? I have just actually selected all of them and pressed Control and T. So to comment it, and if I press one more time Control and T, then that will uncomment it. So this is comment and this is uncomment. Comment and comment. Comment and comment. That's all. So simple. You can just select it and then Control T to comment it and then again Control T to uncomment it. That's all. If you want to uncomment it, there is another command called Control U as well, but I don't think so. We need it if we have already Control T. So let me comment this right now using Control T. So I'm pressing Control T. You can always go ahead with the IDE fix and then choose that, but I feel that actually using the shortcut is much more easier. So what we have right now, so we'll circle back to the round 1. So we have our project title. That's all we have. This is the only page we have. So this is page 1 of 1, and then I'm going to type rest of them here down. Okay, let's go ahead with the project. What is there here? So this is the title page. That's what I have typed, and then there is a date. Of course, this date is yesterday's date because yesterday I have made it. You can make the date as whatever you want, that I have already explained to you. How do I actually change the date? What you can do, you can just go ahead with /date, and then within the curly braces, whatever you type will come as a date. So this is a date, and then compile it. Then you get this is a date instead of the date comment, right? And if you want that to be today, then you can always type a comment called /today, and that's going to give us the today comment. So that's a by default, it is comment, it's there. So if you don't write it, let me cut it. If you don't write it, then also that will give you that much because that's the default one. Anyway, so what we wanted right now is we're gonna say that mostly when we are writing an article or something, then we would just write the month name and then year name, year actually, of course. So June 2020. That much only I wanted. So let me keep it that much. So you can redefine the date. That's what I wanted to say. The next one, what we have in the project is, let me zoom it out a bit, and let me take the page displays scrolling. And then the contents, table of contents, as usual, the contents we will prepare it at the end, because right now the content does not, because right now we don't have any documents in it. So let's first prepare the documents. And the first one is the chapter 1 and the introductions. We don't have to type anything chapter 1 or something. We just have to tell it is a chapter. That's all. So what we will do, let's prepare the chapter introduction. So let's have, how do I create a new chapter? So as you must have guessed, is the comment already is, so chapter, and then in between the curly braces, we just have to give the name. So I hope you can guess from the yesterday's projects. So we're gonna just actually increase our go a little one step ahead from the yesterday's project. We were using until section. Now we are using one step ahead. That's called chapter. To use chapter, you need either a book or article class. Book or report class. This chapter command will not work in article class because article has only sections. Keep that in mind. Why don't I write a comment also? I'll press Control T to comment it, and then so this chapter command works only in book or report. Of course, it works in memoir and other stuffs and all, but right now actually we'll go ahead with only 2 extra classes. There are many other classes as I already mentioned, but we'll stick to one of these classes for our thesis writing. So this is a chapter. Don't try this chapter command in article, that will not work because article does not have chapter, article have a section. So once I have typed this, then I can compile and see. And remember, this is the first title page, and after that there is an empty page because backside of the title page I don't want to start anything. That LaTeX knows that automatically, so that intelligence is actually pushing that title to the next odd page. So that gives you the chapter number 1 and then the introduction. Do. So what we can do, we can copy that dummy text and put it here. As I have already mentioned in the yesterday's class, I can use a small package for that. you don't need this in the real project, like if you are typing the thesis, because we are not going to fill up with the empty text though. So let me use a package called blind text, so that what I can do is I can just type slash blind text here to fill up some of them here, right? So I can just type like this, and that gives me some room to work, and that looks good also, right? So that's what we have done. Okay, I hope that's clear. Until then, sir, any doubts or something, let me go ahead and see my chat box for any doubts or something. Let's yeah, any doubts here? So far, I'm not seeing any questions and queries. If you are done, if you are well and good, then give a thumbs up so that we can proceed further. Is that done, guys? Please drop a message in the chat box so that I will get to know what's going on. Yeah, Shivani has said yes. Is the project setup is over? If you are facing any trouble or something also, you can always post a message so that I will come to know what's going on. So please drop a thumbs up so that I will go ahead with the full confidence that you are at this stage. Okay, that's done. That's good. So we have many people done already. So what we will do, actually, now we will just go ahead and proceed and type the mathematics part. Okay. Once we have done it, the mathematics has two different things. One is an inline mathematics. The another one is display mathematics. So what the difference between the inline mathematics and the display mathematics? I'll show it in the project. The inline mathematics is nothing but which is coming along the text, or which is inside the paragraph, or which is actually in the line of the text what you are writing. So, and mathematics which is inside the text is actually called as inline mathematics, and the mathematics which is comes out of it and then stand alone in the centered alignment or left alignment or whatever the alignment, but if it is standing alone and if it has a gap between the paragraph and this, then that's called as display mathematics. So this is an inline mathematics and this is a display mathematics. So we have two different ways to type it, and of course actually in display mathematics is also there are two ways. One is with number, another one is without number. For example, here the first one whatever I have typed is without the number, and the second one whatever I have typed here is the with the number. So that's what we have the comments, right? Okay. So these are the two things actually which we are supposed to know. And so how do I type an inline mathematics and how do I type an display mathematics? That's a question. Let's go ahead and type the inline mathematics first, right? So let me delete this too. And inline mathematics, I can just start typing. So I am going to type an inline mathematics. So how do I type an inline mathematics? Let me zoom it for you. Let me cancel this out. I don't need this right now. How do I type an inline mathematics? So the inline mathematics needs you to type a single dollar, and then inside that you can type the expression, and inside that you can after that you can type $1. So any mathematics, any inline mathematics should start with a dollar, and then whatever the expression it goes has to go here, and then it has to end with the dollar. Definitely, you should start a dollar and you should end a dollar. And then display mathematics has many options to do it. One of them is if you start with a double dollar and then the expression and then the double dollar, then this gives you the display mathematics, right? So what I do is I will write it as a comment. So this is display mathematics and this is inline mathematics. Okay, so these are the things. So when we have a dollar, single dollar, then I write inline mathematics. When I have a double dollar, then I have a display mathematics. It's not only that, this is not the only option that actually I have a display mathematics, but this is the only option for inline mathematics. For the display mathematics, I have some environment called equation environment, right? So equation environment also give you also going to give us a display mathematics. So this is also going to give us the display mathematics. And equation array environment, that's another environment which we will get from the LaTeX. That is also going to give us a display mathematics. And there is another environment called align environment, and that's also going to give us a display mathematics. So there are many such display mathematics environments. So that what we're going to do is actually we're going to see one by one in the project. But right now what we will do, we will comment all of them for the future reference and type the inline mathematics. Okay, so let's start typing the dollar. When I type a dollar, then I have to end the dollar, and between these two dollars, I have to type something for the mathematics. The first thing I want to do is suppose let me type f of x equal to, and then let's type x square. So how do I type x square? So x, and then there is a cap symbol to keep the square. If you go ahead with the shift and then the number 6 in your keyboard, then you get this symbol called cap, right? So that sometimes it's called as actually hat as well. So x hat 2 will give you x square. Let me compile and check how does it look. So let me compile this. That's single dollar and then the expression and then the another single dollar to complete it. And look at this, that gives you f of x equal to x square, and definitely this is in the line of the text itself. To make sure that actually it is in the line of the text, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this and then paste it before this dollar and give it a space. Now if I compile and check, then what happens, if you see that this mathematics whatever I have typed, let me zoom it this side, then let me zoom it a bit. I am going to type inline mathematics and colon is there, and that gives you this f of x equal to x square and along the line. So that's called inline mathematics. I hope that makes clear for you, right? That's all. And there are many other things mathematics you can type. Let me go ahead with the readings whichever we have supplied in the previous yesterday's project. Let me where did I keep the LaTeX workshop? Let me go ahead and see what is happening. Let me see the readings, right? So if you go to the readings, then you have the LaTeX cheat sheet which we have circulated yesterday. If you open that LaTeX cheat sheet, then if you see that mathematic symbols somewhere over here, yeah, somewhere over here, often used math expression, that is h.6. Then you got all of this mathematics very often which we will use. So that's are the comments actually now which we have. There is a lot of comments that actually we can go ahead and then find out. So this is where I picked up the comment. So look at this, x is there and then there is a cap and then there is a curly brace, of course, curly braces, and then in that I have to type the superscript of that x. Okay, right now actually I had only two, therefore I did not type the I did not type the curly braces, otherwise I have to type these curly braces. What do I mean by that? If I want to type 2, then what I can do, I can have the curly brace open, and of course I end the curly brace after this 2, then give it a compile, that gives the exact same result. And then if I have given 3 x to the power 23, and that gives the x to the power 23, and at that time if I did not give the curly braces and compile, then what happens is only the 2 is on the top and then 3 is down, right? That's what happens. So the curly brace is important if you are writing at least even one more text, because for the text editor, then whatever the number you are typing is actually considering it's one text. So you need a square bracket to put it up in the power. Sorry, you need the curly braces to put it up in the power. Anyway, so let me type one more x and then minus 3, something like this. Compile it, and that gives me f of x equal to x to the power 23 plus x minus 3. The things which you're supposed to note it is the space between the equal to and the bracket, equal to and the x, and then the space between these two expressions and the plus, the space between these two expressions and the minus. So the plus, minus, equal to, these are all actually operators, and these operators has their own spacings. So that's why whatever the space you are giving, you give this much space as well between the plus and x. That LaTeX is not going to take that space. It's not going to respect that space. It's going to take its own space. That's how this LaTeX has been defined in math mode, inside the math mode. If you want a space specifically between these two, then there are commands you can use it. One is the just a slash and then semicolon. That will give you an extra space for you. If you type a slash and semicolon, remember actually, can you see that there's an extra space has been generated, and you can always type a slash comma to give a semi space. It's a half space. That also gives you an extra space over here. And if you want a more space, that we have used already, that slash quad. The slash quad gives you extra space. It's actually called as one tab space. I believe that it is 5 spaces together. And then you can have a QQ quad, Q quad, that gives you double tab space. So that gives you more space. So the inside the math environment, if you want to create any space or something, then you need a special command to do that, because by default LaTeX has its own way of managing the spaces. That has to be kept in mind. So that's true for every other environments, whether it is a display mathematics or whether it is a inline mathematics. The space is going to be always properly maintained as it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and type some more. So this is the inline mathematics. So now let's type the display mathematics. By coming to the next line, definitely you know that coming to the next line does not break the paragraph. What it's going to do, it's going to just keep our code little simpler and cleaner. So to type a display mathematics, one of the famous way to do this is double dollar, right? So the display math expression may go here, and then double dollar to complete it. So I start with a double dollar, and then I write some expression over here, and I end with a double dollar. And then when I compile this, then what do I get? I get a definitely an ugly display math expression text, but the good thing is it is coming in the center alignment, and it has a gap between the paragraph and the expression. And of course, if I have something else below that, suppose something like this, and that also will have a gap. So that gives me an idea. Let me put one blind text over here, so that it gives you an idea that actually how the display mathematics stand out of the paragraph. So the display mathematical expression is actually definitely going to stand out of the paragraph when you are writing like this. As I have already told you, the space is not been respected, definitely, because inside the math mode. And similarly, inside the math mode, all the text have been considered as math text. Remember your F. The normal F over here is something different. Let me write the F outside of this dollar and then compile it. and check. So look at this f. Look at this f. Let me zoom it a little more further. Look at this f and look at this f. So this is the math f and this is the text f. Outside the text, whenever you write a f, then it comes like this. Inside the text, whenever inside the mathematics, when you are typing the same f, then you come like this. That's the difference between the math mode and the text mode. That's why this expression, whatever I have typed here in the display mode, is having weird behavior because this is not supposed to be a math expression, but I have given it inside the math expression. Let me replace it with the original math expression. Let me, how do I replace it? I just copy that and then let me type the same expression what I have here and then check what happens. So let me type the f of x equal to and then x and then one hat and then type one curly braces and close the curly brace, and inside the curly brace let me write the superscript, that's 23, right? Let me compile it and check what happens, and that gives me x of x equal to 23, same expression but in the display mode. That's what the display mode happens. Okay. Let me take off this f which I don't need it, and also why don't I take off this as well and type something useful. So I have taken off everything, and what I'm going to type is a fraction. Let me go to the cheat sheet and check what is the command for fraction. Remember, if I want to type a plus b divided by 2, which is the numerator divided by the denominator, then what I have to do is I have to use a command called /frac, and then the curly braces and then the another curly braces, isn't it? That's how the command works. Let me type it and explain it to you. So what I have to do, I have to type /frac and then the first curly braces and the second curly braces. Let me type it as a num and then den to denote that the first curly braces should have the numerator and then the second curly braces should have the denominator. So let's write a and then let's write b in the denominator and then compile and check what happens. So that's a by b. That has the command what we wanted. So /frac a by b has to be written like this. So whenever you want extra things, whatever you wanted here, then you can type it. Correct? Let's type our famous quadratic equation formula, root of a quadratic equation. Let's write the b square, and then the divided by is actually always 2a. So I don't have to worry about the denominator. So the b square divided by 2a, and b square later what is there in the plus or minus, right? The plus or minus symbol in LaTeX is actually called as /pm. This is meant for plus or minus. I know that LaTeX will take care of the spaces, so I don't have to worry about the spaces. So I can give my own space to keep my code clean and neat. So b square plus or minus and type and compile and check what happens. Yeah, that's good. So b square plus or minus. Then after that I wanted a square root. So how do I write a square root? That is easy. So /sqrt, that is square root, and then one curly brace to say that inside the square root what and all has to come, because under a square root what and all has to come, that has to be given inside the curly brace. So /sqrt to represent the square root, and then let's say I want b square minus oh, I made a mistake. So this is not b square, right? That should be minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac. Oh, so minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. That's what I have typed. Look at this, how beautiful it looks. So that's your formula. That's your formula for quadratic equation, isn't it? So you have typed it. There are many mathematics involved in it. Everything is become very easy. If you are wanted to type this in a word, then you have to go click and then select, and then you should have a really a great knowledge to actually make this expression work. But this is so simple here. There is one fraction, there is one numerator in the top, and then denominator. On the numerator there is one expression. In that expression there is a minus b, and then there is a plus or minus, and then there is a square root. Inside the square root there is a b square minus 4ac. That's what happens. So that gives you a display mathematics. So anybody get into this place, please give a thumbs up so that we can proceed further and to look into the another famous expression, famous environment called equation environment. Just go ahead and give up a thumbs up. Let me open the chat box here. So please give up a thumbs up so that we'll proceed further. If you have any queries until this, please go ahead and let me know, because this is the basic to start typing any mathematics environment in the LaTeX. Cool. Sorry for that. Please take your time, slowly type. There is no hurry in typing, so you can just have the time. So we'll give enough time to type and realize that these are all good. There is no difficulty in it. It's going to be very easy to type everything. Good. So that's cool to realize that everybody have done it. Let me go ahead and see the project and what is there next. In the project number 4, I have an expression like this. What will I do is, I will give you 3 minutes to type this expression. So what do you have to do? I have an expression which has a fraction, here, x divided by x plus 1 and then 1 plus, and another fraction x plus 2 divided by x here, and then equal to is there, and then another fraction x plus x minus 1 divided by x plus 3. That's a cool example and cool exercise for you to practice what is a fraction. So please go ahead and see and then try to type this in your pad, and I'll give you 3 minutes time to work on this. Let me put a counter for you so that it's easy to grasp the time. Where is it? Please go ahead and Okay, so I think that's enough time. So if you have done the uh, one, actually, please give it up a message. Okay, so there is a message called file ended while scanning use of bracket. That's a very simple, easy to fix issue. That is because you have opened the bracket and you have not ended the bracket for sure. So what you can do, you can just make sure that if you have opened the curly braces and then you have ended the curly braces and you have ended, and of course you have to make sure that you have ended the curly braces only once. Okay, I think that's a cool exercise for you to finish it up and of course to get the feel that you have done. Okay. Next thing what we are going to do is to look into the equation environment. So let's go ahead and type the equation environment. Remember, when we are typing the dollar or double dollar, we have the display mathematics, but we do not have the number. But suppose if we want the number, then what to do? If you do want the number, then what we can do is we can type or we can use the environment called equation. So how do I type an environment? Any environment in the equation, any environment in LaTeX has to start with a begin that environment name. So let's type slash begin and then equation and then let's type the slash end and then the equation. So let's have only slash begin equation and the end equation and then make sure that you have the expression over here. Let me type the expression for you again. So you can just copy and paste it of course, or you can type it with me. So it was a fraction and then open curly brace and end curly brace and one more open curly brace and one more end curly brace to make sure that I am typing it in numerator and denominator. And the numerator was x and then the denominator was x plus 1 and then that plus another fraction and that also has a numerator and the denominator. And of course, make sure that you write both numerator and denominator, otherwise it's going to yell at you. So then that numerator and denominator had, I hope it was x plus 1 divided by x or whatever it is, doesn't matter though. So that is 1 and then after that there was one equal to and after that again one more fraction was there that has a numerator and the denominator for those individual curly braces and inside that we have, let's say suppose x plus 1 divided by x plus 2 and if I compile this, remember you are doing everything begin equation and end equation. Once you put begin equation and end equation, you are already inside the math environment. So you should not put any dollar or you should not put any double dollar inside this because maximum when I debug the errors from my students or any of the other documents, I found that inside the begin equation as well, this dollar and double dollar would be there. They would come and argue with me saying that, sir, that is also math. No, that has to be inside. No. Then I would say that actually this itself is telling that you are inside the math. So you don't have to need to put dollar or double dollar inside it. Once I type this, of course I compiled it. Once I compiled it, then what I get the same equation what you have typed in your previous exercise. This time, one good advantage is it gives a number for that expression, right? So it gives you 1.1. 1.1 is because the chapter is 1 because we are in the chapter 1.1. If you are in the chapter number 2, then that would give us 1 and so on. So the second one actually counting that what is the equation? Is it the first equation or second equation? Note that your not unnumbered equations are not counted at all. It is not numbered and so it is not counted. Any numbered equations will be counted as the counts. So make sure that actually you know what you are doing when you are writing double dollar and when you know what you are doing when you are writing begin equation and end equation. Okay, so that gives you the begin equation and end equation. There is a hack. There is actually what you can do. You can use the same thing to keep it much more organized. So I will use the copy and then I have paste it here, and then I have one more environment to have without this number. So sometimes actually now we may feel that sometimes later I may need this also, and also actually now inside the text if I write a double dollar, that looks little clumsy, as well as it may tend to feel that actually this is an inline mathematics. To make it sure, I would suggest, I would strongly recommend, in fact complete LaTeX community is recommending that do not use this double dollar for display mathematics. Always use this begin equation and end equation whenever you need to use double dollar. If you do not want the number, then what you can do inside this begin equation and end equation, right, instead of equation you write equation star. Instead of equation you write equation star. If you write this, remember inside the equation here also star is there, and the end equation also star, it has a star. So you have to write star in both sides. So that gives you the number. Remember the star. Actually, I hope you remember the star everywhere. Whenever we do not want the number, then we use the star most of the time. So that's the actually motivations. When we do not want the number for a section, then we needed a star. When we don't want the number for a chapter, then we will put a star on this. That's all with the command. And so that gives an error. So what is the error? Environment equation star is undefined. That the equation star is actually not coming with the LaTeX by default, but it comes with a package called AMS Math. AMS Math is an American Mathematical Society. When you are typing a math document, when you are typing an article which has some math, you can never ever avoid this package called AMS Math, and that comes with a standard installation, so you don't have to install it manually. So what you can do, you just write use package, you just use that AMS Math. When you write use package and then AMS Math, then you compile it, then you must get the same expression, but this time without the. I hope that makes it cool, right? So whenever you want a number, write equation. Whenever you don't want the number, then you write equation star. Okay, so that completes this equation part. I hope that is great for you. Let me go ahead and look into the project. Of course, we have typed this expression with the equation, and that ends the introduction chapter. Let's go to the next chapter, chapter 2, and that is cases and matrices. Let's go ahead. And below this expression, I'm going to let me type a chapter called cases, matrices. Okay, so that's going to give us a new chapter called cases and matrices. Once you have done this, then you would see a second chapter, cases, matrices. Good. Once you know this, then I would type one blind text for an extra empty text for me. So you can also type it if you have installed that package, or you can just copy and paste it from the internet. So I hope you understand that actually this becomes very handy right now, instead of every time copying and pasting it from the internet. So that's gives some paragraph to work with. The next one which I am going to say is the cases. So that has a section called cases. Remember this 2.1 right now mention this section, not the subsection. Why? Because this is directly under the chapter 2. Then 1 is there, which means under the chapter 2, the first level is the section. So let's type a section called cases class section and then the cases. Of course, I would like to write a capital C, compile it, and that gives me the section called cases. I also want some plain text here as well. Type it something, and now I have some room to work. So after this, I would first go inside the display mathematics. So let me type equation environment. So begin equation and end equation, and inside that, let me type the cases. What do I mean by cases? Let's go ahead and show it in the project. So the project says that uh, this is a typical way of defining any mathematical function when you have some discontinuity, or in fact actually sometimes when you want to define a function for different in different intervals. Okay, so now we have a interval AB, and then at that time the function is defined to be 1. We have an interval BC, and at that time the function is defined to be x, and so on, right? Okay, let me make it very simple for you. Let me type f of x equal to, and that's where the cases begins. So f of x equal to, let me type and compile it first, and that gives me f of x equal to, and it also gives me a number. Now I want to type a cases. To type a cases, then you all have an equation, an environment called as begin cases. And of course, when you start an environment, then you should always end that environment saying as end case, right? So when you have written this class begin cases and end cases, between those begin cases and end cases, you can start writing your cases. So what is the cases? It has a left hand side and a right hand side. Means what is there for that and when that case. For example, I have written 1, and then if x in closed interval a comma b. Note that whatever I have written, definitely I am going to fine tune it. So 1 if, I'm sorry, 1 if x in, why do I do that? 1 if x in AB. Remember, to write the command in, then I have this symbol, I have this, to write the symbol in, let me compile and show you. To write, this is a symbol, right? Symbol in belongs to symbol. If you want that, then you need this class in. Slash in is the command to type belongs to. That's how we read it. X in a comma b, or x belongs to a comma b. Okay. Now everything looks good, but the text does not look good. But I wanted that text if should be text itself, because that's just a text actually. That should not be considered as mathematics. So how do I say inside a mathematical environment? How do I say that has to be considered as text? Then LaTeX gives an option to do that. So what you can do, you can just go ahead and cut that and then type as text. Inside the text, then you write the if. So what will happen right now? Sorry. So what will happen right now? That if will become the normal text if, right? As I have already told you, the spaces are not been given in the text in the LaTeX automatically by default, but you may need a space between if and the x. So you can either give it inside the text environment, or you can use any one of the spatial space characters to use it, like slash, semicolon, or something. I would be happy to give it inside the text environment one space, because that is considered as a space. Okay. It's all good, well and good, but the problem is this one and if is actually squeezed together. Even if I give one space over here as well, that's still actually squeezed together, but that does not look like its cases, right? So what do? I put one ampersand symbol to split these two, right? One is the answer and another one is the case. If this is happens, then this is the answer to say that. So let's write an ampersand symbol, and if I compile it, and that gives much more space, and it's an equivalent space to decide and then distinguish that, okay, when it is the x value belongs to a comma b, then this is oneness has to be considered. That's what it is, right? Okay, please note down this bracket as well. Now I want to write the second case. Suppose if the x belongs to b comma c, then what has to happen? So that case can be written below. So how do I break that case? The first row has to be broken, and then the second row has to become. So this is exactly same rule as that of whatever you have done for tabular. So let's go ahead and put a double slash, break the row. So that's a row. That's a simple row. Let's write x and one ampersand symbol to say that if that happens. So let's write slash text, and then one space and if and another space, and then x belongs to command is actually slash in closed interval, or let's keep open interval b comma closed interval c, right? That makes sense, right? Mathematically that only makes sense. And then let's compile it and see what happens. There are two things to note down. Of course, this space has been maintained, and if comes actually exactly same as that of what we wanted, and this bracket also becoming bigger. So this is the first time that actually we look into the bracket properly. So the bracket also becomes bigger. Suppose if I want one more case, let's say I write x square and the ampersand symbol and type text and if, and then x belongs to open C, then delete it and then close to D. No need of double slash right now. Let's do this. Still the x is actually, this bracket is becoming bigger and bigger in the life, and this still maintains the same property as everything goes good. Let me zoom out a bit to understand explain how it looks and whole. So this is how it looks, and it looks awesome. Let me finish this. What I can do, I can put one more double slash to go over and type a new case. Let's say suppose 3 elsewhere. Let's type x text and then one space and then type the text of elsewhere, and that gives me the cases completion, and that adds the bracket properly, and this equal to comes exactly in the middle and f of x comes exactly in the middle, so everything goes very well. So that's how we wanted to type a case. I will tell you, I can bet you that getting that in Word is terrible. It is definitely not possible so easily. You have to do a lot of hacks and tricks and quicks to get this open bracket and not having the end bracket. That's so difficult. Even if you have it, when you're copying and pasting it in the PowerPoint, then that's going to collapse your environment. Remember, believe me that I have faced this problem long time ago, and that's the one actually asked me to switch over from Word to LaTeX to type any simple objects. Okay, so that completes the cases. Let me highlight it for you. So that's the cases. Make sure that you have done it by yourself. So please type it yourself. Okay. The next thing is an align environment. Let me go ahead and type the align environment and say what is this. So what is an align environment? Oh, sorry. I want to complete the matrices as well. Matrices so quickly I can finish. What I can do is this is also a section. Let's type a section called matrices and then say, let me type one blind text for you. I think these are all easy for you to do that right now. We are in the second day of the workshop, so we should not have any difficulty right now. And again, matrices is also a mathematics. Let me go ahead with the equation environment. I will show the cheat sheet to type a matrix so that it will be easy for you to check. Let me find it. Where is the matrix? Yes, here is the matrix. So this is the h.7.5. So when you want a matrix, you can just type slash begin matrix and end matrix. That would give an A, B, C, D. Of course, actually it has written A, B and then C, D. You can imagine what happens here. And of course, if you want a parenthesis matrix, then you can write P matrix. If you want a square bracketed, then it is B matrices. When you want just curly braces, then it is capital B. When you want a determinant, then you have B matrix, which is a vertical matrix. When you want norm, then you wanted a norm of a matrix, usually written like this. When you want like this, then you can write capital B. So these are the basic commands which comes here. Along with that, we have dots, L dots, everything. You can read it much more. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type a simple matrix. Remember, let's type a matrix like M8RTX, and then let's end the environment using slash end matrix. And here we have matrix has rows and columns. How do I type rows and columns in tabular? It is so simple, right? It is A and then the second column is B, therefore an ampersand symbol, and to break the rows then I have a double slash, and I have a C, then I have a ampersand symbol, and I have a D. So when I type this, after compiling it, I'm sorry that I have left one extra line space here. That's why it is yelling at me that missing dollar inserted. That doesn't mean that you have to put a dollar. What is happening, what is telling is you don't have rights to break this line without my consent. So that therefore actually it is giving an error. So I take off that one line spacing and that does not give an error. Definitely it comes with an experience, guys. Actually, I'm truly speaking. I took long while to understand what is this error when I left this one line spacing, and I think I would have spent the whole night to really figure it out. And one day actually, and I just accidentally taken off the space, and then that error vanished. Then I understood that as oh, we are not supposed to give the line spacing inside the equation environment. That's what makes me to understand. Definitely, it took long. It took long way. So begin matrix and end matrix, this first row and second row and columns are separated by the ampersand symbol. Now definitely this is a matrix, but the one thing is actually it does not have any parenthesis. So that's how it has been defined. So if you want a parenthesis, then put a P before the matrix over here as well as over here. So both the places. Then you type, then you compile it, then you get A comma B in this way. Okay, fine. You also have some commands called dots. So there are different dots to do this. What will I do? I will just type begin equation and end equation. Of course, like Text Studio should complete this for me. And then inside that, I want to begin one. Let's say that B matrix, bracketed matrix. And again, this Text Studio has to complete for me. I will put a tab space so that I will understand what's happening here. So begin equation and end equation. Inside that, I have a begin B matrix and end B matrix. So I would type A and then B, and then I want to type dots. So let's type slash dots, and then I would say that Z. Okay, let's go to A, B, C, D, and so on up to Z, and then double slash to break up the line. And I also want to go to B, and then of course I think that would not be a sweet way to do it, isn't it? Let's type 1, 2, 3. That would be nice. So this is 1, this is 2, and so on up to say for example 100, and again 1 and 2, and so on up to let's say again 100, right? Now let me compile and check what happens here. So I have a matrix which has 1 and 2, and then dots are there, and then 100. Remember this dots is in the middle, but I want it in the center. That would be making more sense. So instead of dots, I would type just C dots. And here as well, instead of dots, I would type C dots. So click on compile, then that the dots has been pushed up, then that gives me the center dot. Now I want vertical dots, and then I want to go over here as well as until this one. Then I would say vertical dots has been given as V dots and then ampersand symbol. Let me compile and check what happens here first, and that gives me the vertical dots. And similarly, I want vertical dots over here below the 2 as well. So below the 2 over here as well, I want a vertical dot, and compile and check what happens. That gives me a vertical dot below 2 as well. And I want a diagonal dot here, right? Because this has to be diagonally going behind. So diagonal dot have a command called d dots, an ampersand symbol, and finally I have 100. And I break the line and I compile. And that gives me this vertical dots, diagonal dots, and then 100. And then finally I will write one more row. Let me copy the first row and then paste it here to complete the rows. Let me compile, and that completes the bigger matrix with all possible dots possible, right? So that completes that portion of the project. So that, and we have typed of course actually this matrix itself, but we have used the bracketed matrix rather than the B matrix. Okay, so how many rows you want, how many columns you want, however you want, you can type it. Again, this is so difficult in Word. You can type until 3 by 3, but if you want a 4 by 4 or even bigger matrices, then you have to struggle to get that in Word. But here it is so simple to use it. In fact, if you have this matrix in the Word, sorry, not Word, in Excel, you can just make it as a tabular and then just pick up the middle portion of the tabular and place it here. Change the tabular environment to B matrix or P matrix, then that will become a matrix. That's so cool to use it. That's all. Okay. The last portion of this project is align or equation array environment. Let's type a new chapter for it. Aligning uh, ah, aligning mathematics. Let me compile it, and that creates a new chapter called aligning mathematics, and then go ahead and save. Let me type a blind text for you, and here we will type what's going to happen. Yes, let me first put that expression. So one is called equation array. One is called equation array. This is the environment which we are going to use. Let me type it and then explain to you what I mean by that, because this is hard to explain in words but easy to explain in action. Let's say suppose I want to have a function f of x, and that's equal to, and I would write that x square minus 5x plus 6. That's my expression, and I want to break it down into the next line. So that's where this equation array comes. So we can type the two equations and then you can break the expression. Remember, I forgot to tell you in the equation environment. In the equation environment, you cannot break the line. You have to have only one line. It's actually exactly same as that of saying one line of equation. If you have, then use equation. If you have the multiple lines of equation and in the single place, then you have to use equation arrays. So there are a lot of arrays of equations. So f of x equal to that, and then I want to type exactly below this equal to, and then I want to say that what is the factor of this? So the factor of this is x minus 2 into x minus 3, isn't it? So simple to understand. Now I want to compile this and check. Yeah, I compare. It gave me a proper way, whatever I want. Remember, actually, no, it gives you a number for each and every expression. That's cool. That's good and good. If I don't want any of the numbers, then you know what should happen. We have added the AMS math package, so I can use the star here, and then the star has to be here as well as here, and then compile it, and that should take off the numbers, right? Anyway, now I will keep the numbers and compile it, and that should give the numbers back. Okay. The aim of this equation array is not just splitting the equation into multiple rows. It is also important to fix this equal to on in one line. Like, so this equal to has to be exactly below this. I have typed here below this, but actually it is not giving me below here, right? That's because actually that's how actually LaTeX is taking care of. Because whatever the space you are giving, LaTeX is not taking care of it. Right? Sorry, LaTeX is not worried about it. LaTeX takes care of this one bracket. One spacings. So if you want, then you should tell it. How do I say that this bracket and this equal to and this equal to has to fall into the single uh, column, I would say. So how do I do that? That's so simple. It's exactly same as that of what you have done here. So we said that the 2 has to below exactly this 2. Sorry, this 2 has below this 2, and then this v dots has to be exactly below this by writing an ampersand symbol. So similarly, what you can do, just before this equal to, put one ampersand symbol, and after this equal to, put another ampersand symbol, and again before this equal to, put one ampersand symbol, and after this again equal to, then put another ampersand symbol. So what did I say here is, write an f of x and an ampersand symbol and an equal to and an ampersand symbol and rest of the equation, and here I have nothing, and an ampersand symbol and then equal to and an ampersand symbol and rest of the expression, right? So what happens because of this? Sorry, what happens because of this? It says that the first column is f of x and the second column is equal to, and in the second column below that equal to has to come, and similarly the rest of them has to align it automatically on its own. So let's compile it and check what happens. Now if I compile and check, remember this gives good. So this keeps it very well, and then the equal to is exactly below what I want. Oh, There is one more way to achieve it. What I am going to do, I am going to just copy that and paste it here, and I would going to say that I am going to take off this equation array as going to change it as align. That's an align, and then now what I want to do, if I can compile this and then check what happens. So this is what actually it gives. That's because we do not need the align environment to split it like this, because the align environment is used for some other different way. What we wanted to do is we just need that alignment only on the equal to. I don't care about the right side, right? So what you can do is actually you can just leave this ampersand symbol before the equal to, but you can just take off the ampersand symbol after the equal. Take off that, and here also you can leave the ampersand symbol before the equal to, but you can take off the ampersand symbol after the equal. Just take off that, and now you compile and see what happens. So that's cool. The difference between these two approaches is f of x equal to, there is a space here, right? There is a, see, one hand space is here, but there is no space here. There is an only the operator space is given here, and similarly here also there is an up one hand space here, but there is no one hand space here. There is only operator space here. So when you are typing such kind of expressions and you are typing this kind of environments, then you have to decide that what do I need? Whether do I need the space here? In fact, in this case, actually, we don't need the space here. This is not something which is different from each other. This is not column by column. It is actually the same expression, but we are writing it in a proper alignment. That's all. So in this case, this is the better way to use it, not this. But in many of the other cases, you may have to use this equation array as well. So you have to right now decide, you have to sit and decide as a subject expert that do we need the space here or do we don't need the space here. That's what you have to check. I hope that's clear for everybody, and that concludes this project except the bibliography, right? So how do I work on the bibliography? I will work on it in the next project. So that bibliography, because I want to give a break of at least 15 minutes so that you will get relaxed and then come back to me the next project. So in the next project, actually we'll deal with the bibliography. In fact, actually we'll start with the fourth project, and or we'll of course add the bibliography first, then we'll go for the next. Okay. Any comments? Let me check the comments box in the chat box. Any comments here? Yeah, as of now, actually, I don't see any comments actually. If there is any new comments, then I would answer it definitely. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my Text Studio window, and after that, I'm going to give a counter. Definitely not for 3 minutes, but for 15 minutes. Let's have a 15 minutes of break. Have a 15 minutes of break. Please take a 15 minutes of break and come back after 15 minutes. Let's see the final project of this workshop, project number 5, and that's the exclusive of thesis. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll meet you after 15 minutes. Welcome back for the session. So in this session, what we will do is we will do the project number 5. So I have my project number 5 opened in my desktop. I will switch over to that. So this is the project number 5 which we are going to build. So what we're going to do is we're gonna build a thesis template. It has name, of course, college project name, the college name, and etc. And of course, the title page. It's a very simple title page. We can always make it much bigger than that. And then the second page has an abstract, and then the third one is having an acknowledgement, and which does not have a number or something. And then the fourth one has a content, and then the fifth one has a list of figures, list of tables, and the chapter, and it has sections and all those things and all. And it has a citation, of course. It has a citation in the introduction. Also, it has a citation in the literature review, and I have like, objective, challenges, contributions, everything is there. You can, of course, change the titles. You can change the layout, how it is look, everything you can change. And after that, we have an appendix, and the first appendix, and I have a second appendix, and then finally I have references. So these are the things actually which we are going to do. So what we're going to do is actually we're going to see the best practices what we have to do when we are developing a thesis template, or when we are even typing a thesis from by using the template. So that's what we're going to do. So we are not going to type much of mathematics, or we are not going to type any of them. But what we're going to do is in this project we're going to purely concentrate on how to organize your files and how to generate such a template for your work. That's what we're going to do. So let's start the project then. So why don't I give for this project, we are going to use the class called report. We're going to use the class called report because that's a major and then useful class for typing of any other thesis. If you want to type a very good quality and highly customizable and highly customized thesis, you can use a class called Memoir, Memoir. So that's a wonderful class, but that needs some more advanced level of learning the LaTeX. But right now, report is the very commonly used thesis. Believe me that actually I have used I have typed my thesis in the report itself, and you can always use this and then type any of the report. Uh, Therefore, you can type the thesis as well. Fine. So let's go ahead and start building it from the scratch. So let me open the text studio, and I would close this project for whatever is. Of course, I will save and close it, and I will go ahead and start a new project. Why don't I give couple of minutes time to finish this project for me? So just 2 minutes time to finish this project. So please go ahead, not finish this project, of course start the project. So you go ahead and set up this project setup, and I will catch you in 2 minutes. That's cool. So we are right now in the process of constructing a new project called project number 5, and that is the template for your thesis. Let me go ahead and start a new project. Let me go to the file and then new. In that new, then we're going to type document class. I have told that the class we are going to use this as a report, and then we have a begin document and end the document. So as usual, I'm going to type hello world to check whether it works better or not, or working right, working good. And then I'm going to save this file pressing this save button, as well as I'm going to save it using file tab itself. Save, and I'm right now in the project number 4, so I'm going out of the folder, and where I have project 1, project 2, project 3, I'm going to create a new folder called project number 5. So project number 5, and this project is named as project number 5. Okay, did I open the project number 1? Sorry. Project number 5, project number 5.tech. Save this file and build and view for the first time. That gives you the hello world. Okay. So everything is set up. Project is actually set up. Now what we will do, actually we will see the report class structure first of all. So report class works with, first thing, the topmost level is a chapter, then under that there is a section, and under that there is subsection, then under that there is a subsection. So I think only that much it's been defined. As I've already mentioned, if you want, you can define it more, right? So these are the 3 things. In fact, these are the 4 things which we'll be using it for the structure of the document. Let me comment it for you for your future reference. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type the title of the thesis as this. It will be what was the project title that I gave? Just this actually project title. I will write it as project title itself. Let's recreate that. And then of course I will write the author name as David Raj Michael, whoever I wanted. But this time I can type make title and then compile it. But I'm not going to do this because this is not what I wanted, because whenever you write a title of the thesis, then that's not how it looks. So we need a slightly different manner. We need to redefine the title page. So therefore we are not going to use this make title, but we're going to use this title and author in the dynamic way in the later part. So what we are going to do is, exclusively for the title page, what we'll go, maybe before the title pages, let's say that we will work on this title page, and then we'll first work on the structure of the document, then we will come back to the title page. Let's say, suppose what and all we wanted. Let's say we wanted a title page and an abstract and an acknowledgement, and of course we want the table of contents, but that is not the part of the file structure. What else we want? We want chapter 1, and we want chapter 2, and so on. Of course that goes. And after the chapter 1 we want appendix 1 and then appendix 2, and after that we need bibliography. Is that correct? So these are the things which we needed, right? So what we wanted, the first one, we wanted a title page, and then we wanted a abstract, and then we wanted an acknowledgement, and then we have a chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and so on, and then appendix 1 and appendix 2. and after that we wanted a bibliography. The way I am going to maintain is I'm going to split this into, in fact, 4 different pieces of parts. That's how the usual proper maintenance of a thesis project comes into the picture. Let me pull this up and then try to make sure that actually you understand this properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new text file for this, for this, and 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 for this. Which means I'm going to use entirely different text files for each and every section, and I'm going to take up everything and put it here. That's what we are going to do. We have done this for images, but right now what we are going to do, we are going to do it manually for all the text file as well. This is actually called as document splitting. So we need to split the document across the text files. So that helps us to manage the text file very efficiently, and so the source code is going to be much simpler to use it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a text file called title page.text, and also I'm going to create a text file called abstract.text, and I'm going to create an acknowledgement.text, and I'm going to put everything under a folder called front page or front matter. Let me write it as front matter. So these are actually front matters, and then I'm going to put everything under the front matter for abstract as well, and I'm going to put an acknowledgement also under the front matter. And I'm going to put the chapters as inside chapters. That's a folder I'm going to create chapters, and inside that I'm going to create that, and of course everything else goes under that. And for the appendices I'm going to again create an appendices folder, and under that I'm going to give appendix 1, and similarly for the appendix 2 as well I'm going to give it. And bibliography also I'm going to create a folder called bib, and then going to give it. Apart from this, what other folder I wanted is the images folder, that you know what you do, so I can always create it as it is, whatever the way you want it. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. That's the things actually we're gonna create these many files one by one, and then line by line. Let's create the title page first. Let me go ahead with the new file, and then let's simply type this is title page, and then save that file. Save. And inside the project 5 folder, as I have already mentioned here, remember I have mentioned that I'm going to put this title page inside the front matters folder. So let me create a folder called front matters. I'm going to click enter, and I'm going to inside of it, and then I'm saving the file here, right? So that's my title page, right? Title page dot text. This is my name of the file. Save it, right? Remember, this title page is inside. If you can see this top, then you will be able to see this is under project 5. Inside the project 5 there is a front matters, and then inside that there is title page dot text, right? Let me close this off, and then I want another one is called as abstract. So I will create one more text file called abstract. Let's simply type this is abstract, and then save this file. Go to file, save. How do I save it? I have already created the front matters while I was creating the title page. Let me go inside the front matters. There is already title page.text here, and I'm going to name this as an abstract. So this is my abstract.text, right? Okay, cool. I'm going to close this off as well. And the next one I wanted is an acknowledgement. Let me go ahead and make it as a new. So file, new, then let's simply write this is an acknowledgement, right? Once I type it, then I will save this file, going to the file tab and then save. Let me go ahead and then go to the front matter, and then inside the front matters I will say that this is acknowledgement. I hope that's clear for you. So that is acknowledgement, acknowledgements.tx or acknowledgements.tx. What is that? So this is acknowledgements, and then let's save it, close it. So we have done these things, right? So we have done this. Let me comment all of them so that it will not disturb me. And after that, we need chapter 1 and chapter 2. Let me create only two chapters. So let me open a new file by using this new, and then this is chapter 1, and let me save this file using file and then save. Inside this, and right now for the chapters, I'm going to create a new chapter actually. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to create a new folder called chapters, and then I'm going inside that chapters folder and then saving the file as chapter 1 or the name of the chapter, doesn't matter. So name of the chapter definitely doesn't matter. Close that file, and then I have one more chapter, so that's chapter 2. Let me go to the file and then open, of course, new file. And, this is chapter 2, and let's save this file as inside the chapters. Let's save this file as chapter 2, right? That's cool. Once that is done, then let's close the tab, and of course I'm going to comment with the three dots, so I'm going to press Ctrl T for that as well. So I have done this as well. So this 5 files I have created, and after that I have an appendix folder. So I'm going to create it as appendices, and then I'm going to create a file called appendix 1. Let's create a new file called appendix. So this is appendix 1, appendix 1, and let's save that file. So file and then save, and inside there is no folder called appendices. Let me create a new folder called appendices, and inside that appendices, make sure that you save appendix 1. Yeah, that's done. And then the final but one is appendix 2. Let's go to the file, then new, and create an appendix 2. So this is appendix 2. Let me save this file inside the appendices, and then instead of document.tex, I want appendix 2.tex. Save it and then close it. Then finally I want a folder called the bib for bibliography. So of course I have done this, so I will comment this as well, and I have my bib. Let me go to the file and then new, and this is bib, right? Make sure that here first I will create a bib folder, of course. Once you say go to the folder, I am not going to save this file as a text file. Make sure that actually you have the attention here. I'm not saving this file as a text file, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this file as a bib file. So let's say suppose I wanted that biblio, or why don't I write it as myref.bib. Keep that in mind that I am extension is not .tex, it is .bib. So that's very important. Myref.bib. Once you do this, then go ahead and click on save. So this is a bib file. That's what we have done. Okay, we are not going to touch this bib file until we get to the end, but until now we will stick to this. So this is not a bibliography. This was been saved as myref. Of course, there are some spelling mistakes. I'll just correct it. And this also I have done, and this is done. Okay, so what we have done right now, we have done front matter, and then under that title page, and then another front matter, that is abstract, another front matter, acknowledgement, chapter, chapter 1, chapters, chapter 2, appendices, appendix 1, appendices, appendix 2. So that's how we have done, right? Okay. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete all of them, that I don't need any of them right now. It was just for your reference. So if you want to keep the reference in your file, so please keep it by commenting it. But right now I felt that actually that's going to unnecessarily trouble me. And I'm also going to delete this extra comments over here, because that will give me a clean slate to work on. So that's what I have right now so far. So now let's go ahead and see what and all can be done here. So now if I click on compile, then it's not going to give anything for me because I have nothing told here. I did not have any make title or something also. But what I can do right now here is I can call those text files whatever I have created inside this project. So how am I going to do that? It is so simple. Type a command with me, that is input. So backslash input and then put a curly brace. So input. So backslash and then input. Inside the curly brace, what we are doing, we are actually in the project number 5. So let me show you that where we are. We are in the project number 5. Let me bring it to the desktop. I have it in my desktop inside LaTeX workshop and project number 5. So we are here in the text file. So what we have to do is we have to go inside this folder front matters, and then we have to grab this file title.text. So from this folder where we are here, we have to go inside this folder front matters. How do I say that? You have to go inside this folder in LaTeX. Go to the LaTeX and go and say that front matters. Make sure that you type the spellings properly. So front matters, and put one forward slash to say that go inside that folder and check for title page dot text. Check for title page dot text. Now let's compile this and check what happens. Compile this. That's cool because it gave that this is title page from the title page, whatever we have typed in the title page. So what we have done right now here is we have called an external file to come inside our LaTeX projects. This is going to be much more clear because we cannot type the complete thesis in one single file. That's going to be unnecessarily cluttering the document, and that's going to unnecessarily trouble you to troubleshoot or to identify the errors as well. That's good. So we can do this title page.text. Why don't we do the other one as well? So let's say input front matters slash, after the title page I would need an abstract.text. So this is how I saved the file. So whatever the file name you have saved, then it should give me that. So let's compile this and check what happens. Now I have my abstract also came into the picture. This is abstract, which means this file is coming from this text is coming from this text file abstract.text. The next one which I am going to do is the input front matters acknowledgements.text. So acknowledgements.text. So this is the third file which I am introducing. Let me click on compile, and if you scroll this side, then you see this is an acknowledgement, which means we are bringing all these 3 files inside our document. So now whatever we type in those documents will also come in this document as well. That's what we are going to do. Okay, fine. So that's our front matters. That's got over. I would like to keep a comment on it. So what I will do is I will put some percentage symbols, I would put some hyphens, and I would say that this is front matter, and then hyphens for completion, and then to keep it clear and neat, I would just go down to this, and I would put a couple of percentage symbols, and I would put something like this. So that is just again to organization purpose only, just to maintain your document neat and clean, so that after some time, some years later, if you come back and then revisit your thesis, then everything should make sense to you. You should not forget it. Tomorrow, when you come back, then what you did in your code, if you don't know, then it's going to be difficult. So organization of the thesis is much important when you are writing a bigger document, which is having more than of at least three or 4 pages. If you're crossing some 3 to 4 pages, then you must maintain your document very well. Okay, so that's the front matter. Then let's go ahead and add our chapters. You know how to add the chapters. What I'm going to do is I am going to give uh, 3 minutes of time to do that job. So later, what I'm going to do, I will copy that and then paste it here to say that this is chapters, and I'm going to leave it for you. And then after that, you have to add appendices, and that's all. Bibliography you don't need to add, I will add it later. We will add it, of course, we will together add it later. Let's add the chapters between these two, and then between these two, let's add appendices. So keep the things rolling. Let me see you in 3 minutes. Of course, I have given the timer as 2 minutes. Let me reset it to 3 minutes. Yes. So go ahead and bring all the files inside and try to compile it and check that everything is working fine for you. Once you are done, then please post a message in the chat box that I will come to know that you are in the right track. If you are facing any difficulty, any trouble, then you let me know immediately. Okay, then. So you must have finished all the works. I hope so. You might have brought all the chapter inside. Yes. Um, Anybody having any trouble? So if anybody is having any trouble, then you let me know immediately so that I can handle it. Seems like nobody has any issues, so I think I can proceed further. Okay, so we are in the chapters. Let me go ahead and type the chapters. So I have to put input and a curly brace. Inside the curly brace, I have the chapters in the folder called chapters and a forward slash to go inside the chapter and choose my chapter1.ex. And similarly, and input and then the chapters and slash and chapter2.text. See, these are the two chapters I had. That's what we have to add. Let me compile and check whether it works or not. And of course, that gives me this is chapter 1 and this is chapter 2, right? So these are the two things I have added. So no errors, nothing. Then appendices. So under the appendices, I will go and then add class input and then appendices and forward slash and appendix 1. Appendix 1 dot text. This is the file name I have added. And similarly, the next one is input appendices and forward slash. I'm sorry, I think appendices forward slash appendix. Why did I type spellings wrongly? I'm very bad at spelling, of course. All my friends knows. I know that because this is not found, which means actually that's a spelling mistake which I have done here. Let me check what did I name for that. That's correct. But in the appendix, actually there are double P's and I have used only single P here. Sorry for that. Over here as well, the same mistake. Don't worry if you are making mistakes. I can always we can fix it up. So I got this is appendix 1 and this is appendix 2. So good, cool, very good. And we have actually split the thesis very efficiently in different portions. Now what we have to do, we just have to go ahead and fix this issues of title page and etc etc. So what we're going to do, what I'm going to do right now is I am going to go to the this place that is just a folder option here, or you can just go ahead and click on file and open, and I'm going to go inside this front matters and I'm going to go inside this title page. So this is what I'm going to edit right now. Let's go to the title page and that's given us uh, this is the title page, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is here, did I show that? I think I made a I'm sorry for that. Actually, I kept only Text Studio, I guess. Let's reopen it again. What I have done here is I'm going to use the title page to edit it. So how do I edit the title page? It is actually two ways to do it. One is just to open it, and one from the source itself. I will show the both the ways. One way is go to the file and open and go inside the proper folder. So the appropriate folder here is the front matters. Let's go to the front matters, and inside the front matters I have a title page. So let's click on the title page, and this is the title page, right? So that's how it is. Now what we can do is we can close this and we can show that there's a one more easy way to do that. One more easy way to do that is we already have a title page content over here, which is here, right? Title page. This is title page. What you can do, you can right click on that text. You can right click on that text, and then the first option would be go to source, right? You click on go to source, boom, what happened? It opened the title page dot, clicking on the same trick. So I'm going here and this is abstract and go to the source. That's an abstract. Here also we know that there is a good way to do it is the class document class begin that environment name has to be given. The name is abstract, right? Okay. I wanted to use the blind text inside this. So let me type a blind text here. But if you want to use this text, blind text, you must come to the project5.tech and go to the preamble, and in the top you have to use, okay? So that's how it is. So let's save this, and let's save this abstract as well, and then go to the project 5 and compile. That gives me an abstract in again a new fresh page. The new fresh page abstract is coming up, and it is sitting in the middle, and it is after the title page. So that's cool, that's very easy. And the next one is an acknowledgement. Let me go ahead and click on this, right click on this and go to source. And here, when I come to that, let me take that off as well. And here the way I am going to do here acknowledgement is, I'm going to write it as a chapter, but this chapter should not have a number, because this chapter should not have any page numbers, or sorry, this chapter should not have any numbers or something, so that I can actually just keep it as standalone chapter. So how do I keep a chapter which does not have a number? So it is nothing but chapter star then title of the document. So the title of the chapter is acknowledgement. Acknowledgements, right? That's all I want to keep. And I want to keep one blind text over here as well. And let me save it. Let me come back to this project5.tech and compile it. And that should give me a new chapter called acknowledgements, but without chapter name. See, I have a title page, and I have abstract, and I have acknowledgements. As of now, you should be remembering, you should be able to identify that we are coming close to the structuring our thesis very well, and it's coming out very well. The next thing, once I finish the print matters, and then I have a chapter 1. This is so simple to do what you want to do. So what you can do, you can just go down, and here is the chapter 1 after my blind text. Here is the chapter 1. Let me go ahead and click on go to source here, or you can go ahead and open the source here. Oh, I have opened the appendix by mistake, so let me go chapter 1. So you make sure that you have the chapter 1.tech, then take off this is chapter 1 obviously, and then type chapter and then title of the chapter. Let's say the title of the chapter is introduction. So that's the introduction chapter, and I would say that I would add one blind text, and of course this is a chapter, so I can type a section for it. Let's type a section. So this is a section. Of course, after that I would say one blind text, and after that I would type one subsection. You don't need to do that, you know that. You always, once you come into this, then you know what you do. You can do whatever you want. So let's say this is just for a template purpose. So this is a subsection, right? Okay. And of course I can add one blind text over there as well, right? Let me copy all of them, because we know that we are going to create a new chapter 2 as well in the similar manner. Let me save this file and then go to the project5.tech and compile it. And that's going to push everything down, and it's going to create a new chapter 1 called as introduction and paragraph, and there is a section and there is a subsection of that. Remember the numberings. This is a chapter 1, therefore the section is 1.1. Because let me zoom it for you. 1.1, and then the subsection is 1.1.1. That's how any thesis or any scientific article has been numbered. Fine. So that's okay for chapter 1. Now what about the chapter 2? Chapter 2, I can just close this all unnecessary things, and I can go down. You see the last bit of paragraph and text, then you see this chapter, this is chapter 2 is here. You can just right click and then go to source, or you can go to the open and then come to the chapter 2. and I'm going to take off everything and I'm going to paste whatever I have copied from the chapter 1, and I'm going to just change this introduction to literature review, right? Literature review. I'm going to save this file, go to the project5.tech and compile it, and that's going to push everything down. Again, it's going to create the second chapter that's called literature review. That's cool. So right, so everything goes well. So this is chapter 2 and it has a section, and it has a subsection as well. The third thing which you have to do is the appendix. Again, this is sticking at the last bit of portion over here. So I'm going to right click on this and go to source, and that's opening the appendix.tech. If it is not opening that, then you can always open it from this file tab as well. There's no problem. Now, appendices are nothing but chapters. So it's typically a chapter. I would say that actually how to keep it as an appendix later. But right now, what we are going to do, we are going to say that this is a chapter. Every appendix is also a chapter actually, but under the appendices section. So I will say that how do I have to say it's an appendix? It's just one line of code. Let's say suppose this is my appendix 1, right? And of course I can type anything I want, so let me type some blind text over here as well, and then close this up, and then of course I can close this as well, and then project5.tech and compile it, and that's creating a new chapter called chapter 3, my appendix 1. But I don't want this to be called as chapter 3, but I want this to be called as appendix 1, right? So how do I do that? You go to the main file project5.ex. This is what I have opened, and go down, go down, go down, go down, and after the chapters and after the appendix, and but all before these two appendices, just go before this, drop a line and go here and type slash appendix appendix slash appendix appendix and click on compile. So what that going to give is any chapter whatever you are writing after this appendix command going to be treated as appendices. That's what it's going to do. So the appendix 1, earlier it was a chapter 3, now it became appendix A. So now there's the last thing left with for the appendices is called as an appendix 2, right? So this is an appendix 2. Let's go ahead and right click and go to source, and this is an appendix. Now again I'm going to create a chapter called this is my appendix 2, right? And I'm going to create some blind text here as well. I'm going to say compile. Okay, so this is my appendix A, and after this appendix B. Everything looks clear, right? Everything looks beautiful, because we have right now what we have actually done is a thesis template, which is not having the title page as we wanted, but every other sections are as we want. Acknowledgement, then chapter 1, and it has a section, subsection, and also chapter 2, literature review, section, subsection, appendix A, appendix B, all of them. Remember all this, look at this formats here. This is what exactly what we wanted while we are writing thesis. But look at the code, whatever we have written here in the preamble, just document class report, nothing else. In fact, this blind text you will not be using it in the main, but you know that when you are typing the content, then you can add one by one packages. Right now you don't need the package. If you are simply writing a text document, or if you are writing a simple thesis where it's going to be just only having the small simple amount of mathematics, then you don't even need any packages. Then why do you have to add so many packages in a thesis template and keep your template so much bugged, and then it's difficult to search and find the mistakes as well. If you make any mistakes, then you would feel that the mistakes is somewhere else, but you will be lost. Okay, so now we are done with most of the things, most of the everything, but we are not done with the bibliography as well as the title page. Let's finish the bibliography first quickly, because that's so simple. To make the bibliography, what I have to do is I have to open my bibliography file, right? Bibliography file. Let's go to the open, and it's in the bib file, bib folder. Inside the bib folder I have this my ref.bib, right? Let's click on open, and that opens the bibliography. In bibliography you need to do something. What you have to do is you have to have only the bib references over there. You should have only the things which are supposed to be there as references. What do I mean by that is, if it is an article, then you give the only information about the article. How do I save an article? Let me show you an example. What is that is, if you are writing an article, then you can just put an at symbol and type article article, and then curly brace to say that what are the options which can go under the article. So this is the first article, and of course I'm going to create something called a key and keep it. That's a nickname, it's a kind of label. And after that, an article needs title for sure. So title equal to and a curly braces. Let's keep it as small a, and then after that, author of the article. So that's going to be author. So let's keep it as B as a placeholder, and then uh, journal in which the article has been published. Let's keep it as C, and then complete it later. And then volume of the article has been published. So let's keep it as D, and then complete it later. And of course, issue is required. With which issue it is there, that will keep it as E. And then the last one which we needed mandatorily is something called year. Let me keep it as 2020 as of now. And there are many other options you can add, like URL and DOI and published or not, or abstract. You can even add abstract here. So you can just add abstract equal to and then put the abstract here, so that you can use it in the future case. But right now for the basic ones, what we need is the required option is only this much, right? So I have added title of the article, author of the article, journal of the article, and volume of the article, and issue of the article, and year of the article. So you take up any article, then you would get the title, you would get the author, you would get everybody, right? So let me write the title. So this is the title of the article. You can type anything you want, you know that. And what is the author of the article? There are two ways to write the author. One is you can write the last name comma first name, or you can write the full name directly. So I would just write David Raj Michael. If I want to write one more author, then what you have to do, you have to write and. You have to write and. Whenever you write one more author, or you even if you want to write many other authors, then you have to write and. Let's say suppose I want to add Amita Puranik also in this article. So David Raj Michael and Amita Puranik. And if I want suppose one more author, then you write one more and then write link to MK, right? Okay. Then the journal, so journal name. So let's say suppose journal of let's say LaTeX analysis. You know what? You can write, you can type LaTeX commands in journal of LaTeX association, something like that, right? Okay. Then the volume number. Let's say we are in the 2000th volume, and then we are in the second issue of that. So these are the things. We have titled, we have author, we have journal, we have volume, we have issue, and we have year. That's all we needed for an article. If you want a book, then you know that that command is so simple, just book, and then of course there should be a key for it. I'll explain it in a minute. And that also have a title. So this is a book, and comma, and then that also have an author. Let's say suppose only me, and that also have a publication year, etc. Let me write only the year for as of now. Let's write only the year. And book has a special field called publisher, right? So the publisher, let's say suppose Manipal, Manipal book house. Yeah, so these are the important things required. Of course, editor, you can write editors, name of the editor, title of the title of the series name, everything you can write it. There is no problem. But the important thing is title and author and year and publisher for book. So similar thing, actually, you can just go ahead and see the references which is given to you to check that what are the fields are actually required for article or book or technical report or anything else. That's how we are working. Now let's see, suppose for an article, I have written all of them, but I have left this key as a placeholder as it is, right? This key is actually the key, right? I can say that this is the primary key. If anybody is working with the data or something, then you would know that what is a primary key, which means it should not be changed later anytime, which means that if I want to call this article, if I want to refer this article inside my document, then I would call this article by that key only. Like what we did in the tabular environment, we labeled the document and then we referred it. Similarly, we are labeling this article and referring it in the document. In fact, that's called citing it in the document. Let's label this article. How do we label? Fermi, it's up to you how do you label. What I usually prefer to do is I would write the first author of the article, and then I will write one underscore and I will write 2000 or the year of the publication, right? If I have the same author, I have a publications of 2000 as well as by the same author, if I have 2-3 publication, then I would mark it as A, B, C, and the one. Then that's how it goes, right? Or you can try to mark it as by title, as if whatever you do, but the key should not have a space. That's what. I also would take off the hyphen because that's unnecessarily disturbing me. So it's just David 2000. The next one is David 2020, right? David 2020. There is no things. There is no common thing that to name it. It's just a convention. Use the first name of the first author and then the year of the publication. The second one is the again myself and then the same year. So I would name it as David 2020A in that regard, right? That's all I would. So let me save this file. Once I save this file, then how do I run this? How do I cite this? Somewhere here, right? So to cite this, what you can do, you can just go any one of the chapter, of course. Let me go to chapter number literature review, of course. Let me go ahead and keep here and then click on go to source. And after this blind text, let me type a command called /cite, right? /cite. Once you give the /cite, then right now you have to give the name of the file, which is going to be name of the article or name of the book, which is going to be there in your references. Let's say suppose I want this to be cited, therefore I will copy this David 2020, copy this and go to that place and then paste it inside the bracket. Yeah, so this is cite David 2020. Let's save this and go to the project 5.5 because we just have cited and we did not have the references here anywhere, right? So we need to add that. So how do I add it? Let's go to this project5.tech, and finally we have the bibliography. Let me add a couple of comments for it. So let's say suppose this is bibliography, obviously, and then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna type a couple of lines. Number one is we have to say what bibliography style we are going to use. Let's say we're gonna use bibliography style. Is there are many bibliography styles are there, MLA, APA, and then it's a simple kind is actually plain, and then IEEE trans. There are many bibliography style. You can figure it out. But right now I'm going to use a plain bibliography style. There is nothing fancy in it. So slash bibliography style plain. That's what I'm going to use. Just follow along with me. After that you can fiddle with it. And after that you have to say from which bibliography file I have to choose the references. So how do I choose that? How do I say that? Just type slash bibliography and in the curly brace, remember where is my bibliography. Let me go to the file structure and check where is that. it was on the project file. This is where I am. Now I have to go inside the folder called the bib, and then I have my bibliography references saved in my ref, right? Let me go to the text file, text studio. Let's go to the folder bib, and then inside that folder I have my ref, and I don't need to type dot bib here. I can just type dash my ref. That's all. So bib / and then my ref. Once you do this and compile it and check your output, if it takes couple of moments, then it means that actually your bibliography is working, because it has to compile the complete bibliography and it has to work, and it worked. Look at this. I have got a bibliography and it has a name of myself and a comma, and Amita Puranik and a comma, and the last one it adds this and then into MK. So LaTeX is so efficient, and it also adds the title of the document, and it also adds the journal name. It's an emphasize mode, and it is giving the year, it is giving the 2000 as a volume number, and it is also giving the year as 2020. So that's happening here. Let me change this volume number so that it becomes like a year here. So let me change this volume number to somewhere around 20, right? Okay. So the issue is actually, it's not issue. It is actually called as number. I misspelled this. It should be number. First one is volume, another one is issue number. Is supposed to be issue number. That's all, right? Let me save this bibliography and then go to the project 5.tech and recompile it. That should change the things, right? That changed the things. I identified that actually that was a mistake. So that was 20 at volume and then second issue. That's cool, right? So simple. It took maximum 5 minutes for me to generate the generate this bibliography, and you can maintain this for lifelong. So you can use this bibliography as a database for your any of the project what you have. And as far as you don't change this key, obviously we don't change this key because this key is actually mentioning for this, right? Okay. Let's go to the chapter and then check what happens to this site. We have cited here, right? It should give that number as well, right? When you go to the chapter here, when you go to the chapter here, chapter 2, inside the chapter 2 literature review, the last one is a citation. Look at this. There is a citation number 1 here. This citation number 1 is the one actually which is there in the last bibliography. In the bibliography, I have this here, right? Okay. Good. That's all we wanted. We have done the bibliography. Now, if you want to cite one more, we can cite as well, right? So let's cite this here in this section here. Let me cite. Since I have added the bibliography, once you type /cite, it should show you what are the references you have in your bibliography. Now I want 2020A because that's a book. You can see this LaTeX. In fact, the text studio is showing you the reference as well. What is the reference you are looking into? That's so simple to use it. Okay. So click on it and then Control S, go to the project 5.tech and compile it. And that should take off your bibliography and compile it again, and then it should give the second reference as well. Of course, it is ordering with respect to the name, but it should give you the bibliography. Now, if you go to the chapter 2, and here is the 2 and here is the 1, right? Okay. You can set up many options here. If you are using bib LaTeX, then you can do all sort of things like I want 1 here and I want 2 here. You can use the citation order. Anything you want, you can do it. It actually finds this one. You can use, I hope this APA or MLA should work. You can just try at that. If it is not working, then it means that actually you might not have the package for it. But that's a different workshop. I have to actually conduct a entirely different workshop only for bibliography to manage your bibliography references, etc. Because again, I would say that this is not tough. This is easier, but there are a lot to cover. There are a lot to know about it. Okay, so that's how you add a bibliography. Concludes this template, except the final one called title page. That's so simple to use, title page. How do I say the title page? Let's go ahead and color world and go to source, and quickly we'll do this. Let's see the project title page here. This is a final year project that is there. You can just copy and paste it here. Only one thing except that is if I paste it here and compile it, and I get the final year project, but it's not in the center mode. So you know that inside any environment, if I want everything to be centered, then I can always write it as slash centering and then compile it again. But automatically it should detect the original document though. I did not want to trouble you with many comments. So that gives the final year project. But still, actually, I wanted that to be a little bit bigger. So you know what to do. So cut this and keep a curly braces and type huge and then paste it here, and then that should give you final year project. Right? This all comes in caps, but I don't want everything to be caps. If you note the project file here, see, look at this F. This F is big, but everything else is in the small, and Y is big, and everything else is in the small caps. So there are big caps and small caps. So how do I say that? That's called actually small caps. So I can copy this again. So I cut this and type slash text sc for small caps. That's all. I'm going it little quickly so that you don't have to waste your time. So that's all it happens. What I can do is I can take all of them and retype it as final year project. That gives whatever I have typed as a capital letter as a big caps, and whatever I have typed it as a small letter as a small caps. That's what I wanted. Correct? Now you know how to create the skip here and there. Let me keep a big skip here because I do want a big skip here, and I want my college name. Again, my college name is the same manner. So I would type slash text sc and then let's type my college name. Correct? And save it and compile it. I should get my college name, but it is not adding me the new line. So you know how to add a new line. Just go ahead and add one line break. That should give us a new line. Again, that my college name is not as huge as this, but it is larger than that. So you can go inside this, or you can select everything and put it in the bracket. You know that. So you can just write slash large here. That should give a larger font for this college name. But if I feel that actually there is more space I needed, then you can use something called V space, vertical space, and you can give the length. Let's say suppose I want to keep some 2 centimeter gap between the final year project and the my college name, and I can give that. There is no harm. So that pushes the things down, and so that final year project and the my college name stands out, right? Maybe I would be happy with just uh, 1 centimeter gap, so that would not make it more cluster. The next one, what we have is the Department of Mathematics. Name is there. Again, same thing. I would just copy this and then just paste it. Only one line spaces I have given extra. Let me keep it Department of Mathematics. Right? That's cool. Good. Yeah. However, of course, I need a big skip for it because it seems like it is squeezing it to each other. So I would manually give the space here. That's cool that I have given big skip that created a small scale. Actually, it's a big space between the college name and the department name, but definitely not as big as this. And the next one, I wanted the project title to be there, and then I want a ruler here. I want a ruler down as well. So you know how to create a rule, right? So you give a rule, and you give the two bases. One is the width, another one is the height. What is the width I wanted? I wanted the complete line width to be there, and I want, say, for example, 1 mm height. So let's compile and check what happens here. Yes, so that gives this. Obviously, I don't want this to be squeezed to this, so I would add one vertical space of 1 centimeter on top of it. Correct? Okay. You know, we have taught you everything, so you know how to define this beautiful looking template page. So let me go one step down and then add my project title. There is an easy way to do it. There's a dynamical way to do this, but still I would right now write it like this. And then copy this, paste it down. Let me add the same 1 mm, and that adds the my project title, but this is not as huge as what we wanted. We thought that actually this should be huger than larger than anything. So let me cut this, put it in a square brace, then type huge, then put it here inside like this and compile it. That gives this. Now obviously let's squeeze this between these two. So you know what to do. Put a double slash and then give a space whatever you wanted to do. So what do we wanted? Let's say suppose I want say some 5 mm gap. It's not 1 centimeter but half a centimeter maybe. Yeah, that's a gap. And also I can put one more double slash after this huge, and I give one more 5 so that it will not squeeze down to the down gap as well, right? So that can manage it. So my project title, and that's in the bold. So inside this brace, then I can do whatever I want. Why don't I write one PF series as well? That gives the bold. So that gives my project title as bold and bigger, whatever I wanted. So that completes that. And of course, these are, you can type it. So I think I may leave that as an exercise. You can type your supervisor name, you can type your co-supervisor name, you can type your author name, everything over here. And then you can also type the date here. How do I type the date here? You can just type um, slash today should give you today's date, but maximum what we will wanted to do is actually we may like to do it like date generally. So let's say suppose June 2020, and then I wanted to put it at the bottom. So we have learned this command already. So vertical fill, correct? So that should give the date here. If you want it to be large, then you can keep it as large. There's no harm. And if you don't want to be so down and you want it to be in little up, then after that you can add some vertical space command. Like for example, I want at least 1 centimeter above from the bottom of the margin, bottom margin. Then you add the 1 centimeter margin here after this June 2020. Then that will push it up, right? Okay. So that's completes this project actually, right? Okay. Any questions? If you have any question, then you can ask me. Otherwise, that is the end of the time. Maybe I will just add the name of the author, something like this. Let's say not before, not after, before this vertical fill. Let me add one vertical space for that. Let's say 1 centimeter space I need it. And after that, let me add just submitted by, then one double slash. Then let me keep some 5 mm gap, and then let's say suppose Dr. or not Dr. David Raj Michael, and of course I would say that I would add some 1 centimeter gap after this, and guided by, I would add 1 centimeter, 5 mm gap after this, half a centimeter. Let's say suppose Dr. Of course that's my date's name, Dr. Manchunatha Prasad. And you know that after that you can write your department name, everything, or you may not like to like it. It depends on your thesis, the institute's templates. So you look into the institute's templates and then go ahead and write your thesis template. Okay, I think that completes our project title. Sorry, that completes our project 5. Is there any questions and queries we can answer? Let me wait in the chat box. Okay. So any questions? If you are having any questions, then you can ask us. Obviously, there are a couple of instructions which I have to tell you before winding up this workshop. Right now, I'm waiting for the suggestions or questions. Yeah, one question is there: while doing the assignment project, my page width has become narrow. What to do? You can set the page width using any one of the commands actually. There is a package called geometry to fix that up. Maybe why don't I quickly say this in the document itself? I have used this. There is a package called geometry to fix all of your uh, page related page layouts. Let's use this package. Of course, you can use it. You can do that without the package as well. But I would like to do it with the geometry so that it would be easy for me to set up some of the options. You use the package called geometry, and you can give some of the options as geometrical options. One of them, of course, inside the curly braces. One of them is the paper size. Paper size is the A4 paper or anything else, whatever you want, A4, A5, A6, or whatever it is, or you can even define your own size of the paper. The second thing is called margin, and it has a left margin, right margin, etc., or just margin. If you just type margin, then it takes for every other type, or otherwise you can type L margin. Let's say suppose that has to be 2 centimeter, and then you say that R margin. Whenever you type such kind of margin setups, make sure that you go with your institute's standard operating procedures or institute's rules and regulations for the margin setups. You have to keep that in mind. So L margin equal to 2 centimeter, R margin equal to 2 centimeter. Let me compile and show you what it does. So if you just compile this and go to one of the chapter over here, process with the errors. No, it should not be an error. Let's wait for it. Didn't make any mistake here. Let me take the paper size right now. Actually, I don't need that. You can give the paper size anywhere in the document here though. So now see, earlier my document was narrower. Now it is becoming wider, right? Which means the margin setups have been changed. So this left margin is actually 2 centimeter and the right margin is actually the bottom margin is more. So to change the top and bottom margins, you can write these similar commands like T margin is for the top margin, it's 2 centimeter, and then B margin is for the bottom margin. Suppose that also if you wanted to get 2 centimeter and then keep it as. Make sure that you write the comma everything properly. So that makes your thesis like this, right? Okay. So most of them will expect 2 centimeter margin here and there. There are many options you can use it with geometry. Again, page layouts itself is actually at least needs some half an hour time to explain one by one and then explore everything. Otherwise, we are actually towards the end of the workshop. Any other questions and queries? I will check the options here. Those, let's say what I have. Yeah. Also, writing a letter, there was too much space in the top. Yes. So again, when you are writing a letter, if you wanted to reduce the space in the top or the bottom or in the right or left corners, you can always set the margins using your geometry package, or even there is a inbuilt LaTeX command like left margin and right margin. You can set that as well, but I would prefer to do it in the geometry itself. So you can always use that. Any other questions? I would be very happy to answer if the questions have been posted here. Okay, seems like I think no other questions. If there is no other question, then we are very happy to say thank you to all the participants who have been part of this workshop, and I would like to thank all of my organizing team. Of course, first of all, I would like to thank the GM Solutions for giving such a wonderful platform to organize this workshop. Before concluding and completing, I would like to say that the videos, whatever you are watching right now, is my personal channel. You can subscribe to the channel and you can press the bell icon for any new notifications, so that in future, whenever I am uploading a new video on LaTeX, because my channel is completely dedicated to LaTeX and teaching aids and other stuffs, you can go ahead and see any of the other videos as well in my channel to boost your teaching experience, as well as to encourage your students to use some of the technical softwares. Also, I would like to thank the organizing committee members. Of course, the proprietor of GM Solutions, Mr. Joseph Raj, and of course Professor Amita Puranik from Manipal Academy of Higher Education, and of course from Ms. Lintu MK from the same institution. They are all actually personally my friends as well. They are not actually somebody from somewhere else. They are my close friends, and thank you so much for such a wonderful, such a wonderful. I would say that that's a wonderful company, and also the support for the workshop. The final words I would say that to the participants is, if you like to type LaTeX for any of your document, the one thing you must always keep that in mind is you have the patience to try to update yourself by looking into others' code. So take the other people's code and then try to keep that running first, and then if let it run, then after that go by line by line and check that what is happening here. Anyway, uh, the feedback form will be circulated. Feedback forms will be definitely circulated to you. Once the feedback, I'm sorry for that. Once the feedback form is circulated, in that feedback form, there is name for the certificate as well as the institute name for the certificate. You must fill both of them so that I will be able to give the certificate on the uh, in a proper manner. Like you give your name as slightly different, then your certificate also will come slightly different. So please keep your name properly. Okay. So there is a one more question quickly to answer is, how can we draw arrow diagrams in LaTeX? Of course, we have arrow diagrams in LaTeX. There is something called automata diagrams, as well as there is something called commutative diagrams. Both of them can be drawn using a package called Tix CD, which is Tix -CD. So that will help you to draw the diagrams. So you can use that. Again, that needs one full course. So which may not become under the introduction to LaTeX, but still, actually, now in future we will be definitely asking you to follow up to us. In fact, for future any notifications, you will be always intimated. You can subscribe to the channel so that you will get a notification for any other workshops. We will circulate the project sheets for today's by afternoon after post lunch, so you can practice it for yourself. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for participating in the workshop. We will give away the certificates, e-certificates. We'll send you in the mail by tomorrow or by today evening. So both, any one of them will happen. Thanks a lot. Thank you for such a wonderful participants. Thank you.